Good morning, 512 City. What a privilege this morning to have Howard Storm with me. Now, Howard was a professor that died, and dying changed his life. Howard, tell us a little bit about the day you died.
This was on June 1st, 1985, and I was leading an art group around Europe, and we were on the next to the last day of the trip. We were a 3-week trip. We were in Paris, France, and I had a perforation of my small stomach, known as the duodenum, was taken to the big general hospital in Paris. And unfortunately, because it was a Saturday and because of the nature of medical practice over there, I was left untreated for 10 hours. When I was taken to the hospital, the emergency doctor said that I would die within an hour or two. The emergency doctors at the French hospital said that if I didn't have the surgery immediately, I would die. American doctors all told me that my life expectancy was only a few hours, and I lived for 10 hours, no drugs, no treatment, no doctor, no nothing, no pillow, no blanket, just
Wow.
lying on a cot, waiting for a doctor to show up at the hospital. And I died, and I was taken on a journey by a group of people to hell. I felt not only bodily intact, but I felt more alive. My senses were heightened like they'd never been before. And they took me down this long, dark passage, leading me along. At first, I thought they were friendly, but they turned on me, and I said I wouldn't go with them any further, and they began to tear me apart. And it hurt just like it would here. And then they did worse things to me to humiliate me, debase me. And
so while all this is happening, when you say that you lasted 10 hours and then you died, were you clinically dead?
Since there was no doctor, I mean, I know I was, but there was no doctor. I was getting I was left alone. I got no attention at all.
And I mean, there was just no reason for you. You were physically dead. You had this experience, and now you're going through this experience, but you're saying it felt more real. So you weren't sick anymore. You didn't feel like
Oh no, I felt great. I felt great when I came to consciousness from unconsciousness. You know.
Wow.
So
it wasn't a good experience though. Most of the people I've spoken to the last couple of weeks describe a good
it gets good
experience, a meeting with Jesus.
I'm not even a quarter of the way through it. It gets good. I prayed first time in my life because I was an atheist, and I believed that when you die, you're just dead. You know, I used to say you don't see little angel spirits rising up over the raccoon you just ran over on the road, or in your case, the armadillo. I didn't believe that there was life after death, and so to me, this was all surprising and unknown territory, and quite mystifying and confusing. And I prayed to God, and I prayed to Jesus, and He came. I'm giving you a very abbreviated version, and He came and.
Well, I'm excited about us digging into this more tomorrow. So I'm loving the abbreviated version, and I'm loving the fact that I have more questions than answers. That's the whole point with today.
Right. So Jesus took me out of there, and with a group of angels, we went up to the outskirts of heaven, and he and the angels gave me a life review, which was a terrible experience because what they were looking for was love and compassion. And I was more interested in my success, which was working for me. And in our society, being successful is everything. And it doesn't matter who you step on to get there. And I didn't have any hesitation about doing that.
So you're saying life review, Howard, a literal review of your life. Did you like, I mean, people say they see their life flash before their eyes. Was it kind of a process of your life, or what was that?
We started at my birth, and we went over not every moment, but by all the important moments that they chose to show me about how I interacted with other people.
Wow.
In chronological order.
And you're saying that there was a difference between what was important there and what were important to you before. Has this changed what's important to you now?
Totally.
Oh,
The most important thing is to put other people's needs, interests ahead of our own, as Jesus tells us in the scripture and as he did in his life. So when my
yeah,
life review
go for
was over, he asked me if I had any questions. I said, I've got a million questions, and he answered all my questions. And he gave me the really bad news, which was I had to come back and I got a redo,
wow.
a second chance. And so we argued because I didn't want to come back. I wanted to live in heaven forever because heaven is way more fun and way more interesting, way better than this place. And so he sent me back, and I've spent the last 35 years trying to do what he told me to do, which was to love the person I was with.
That's awesome, Howard. And let me just say that the little bit of time that I've had the privilege of spending time with you digitally like this, I've been, I can feel that love in you. I can feel that compassion. I can feel that sense that the most important thing for you is the person you're with in any given point in time. And you don't know me from anything, but I've sensed that in you. But you told me a little bit about Howard before this incident that was an art professor that did not believe in all these spiritual things. So I mean, tell me about that. What would be different about that Howard and the Howard that we've got in front of us today?
Well, as a materialist, I believed in science, and I thought that anything that wasn't verified by science wasn't true. It was superstition, myth, folktale. And now I realize that not only am I not the master of the universe, I'm not even the master of my own destiny, that there's a God, and God's the most important thing in the world. We can't see God, but we can understand God and know God because God, in God's infinite love for us, has chosen to reveal God's self to us. And the primary way that he's done that is through the scriptures and through Jesus Christ. And so I try to live my life according to the gospel of Jesus, not the whole Bible. I'm not an Old Testament guy. I'm strictly a Jesus guy, a gospel guy. And that's what I try to do. And one of the great things about that is that he died on the cross for our forgiveness of sins, called the atonement.
Yeah.
And I'm a sinner. I try not to be. I really work at that. But I make mistakes. I fail. And he forgives me. And he forgave me 2,000 years ago. And he forgives me today and tomorrow. And his desire is that all of us, everyone, go to heaven, no matter what they've done or who they are. And there's no one's sins who are so big that he can't forgive them, because that we were created to go to heaven. Unfortunately, many people reject God, reject Jesus' message of love, and they are not going to heaven. They're going to go to a place that's not fun. It's pretty terrible.
Well, so Howard, what did it feel like when you came back to consciousness? I mean, physically, what was happening, and where were you at, and how did that moment? How did it feel like being ripped from the one back into this reality?
It was horrible because I went right back into my body in the bed and into the pain that I'd been experiencing, which was way over the top. And immediately when I came back, I was conscious, and a nurse came into the room and said that a doctor had arrived at the hospital. This was 9 o'clock at night. This thing started at 11 a.m. in the morning. And they prepped me for the surgery, which I had at 10 o'clock. And when I awoke from that surgery on Sunday morning, I knew that I was going to have to rebuild my whole character, which is tough because I'd spent 38 years building that person, that character.
Yeah.
And now I was going to have to re-examine everything from the bottom to the top, from the top to the bottom, and what changes I had to make. And I knew that there were a lot of changes. It was tough, and I made many mistakes along the way, and alienated people by being so zealous for God and Jesus that a lot of people didn't want to have anything to do with me anymore. So there was lots of regrets about how I handled people. And I try to be gentle and loving and kind and not to forceful in my passion for God.
But it's amazing, it's not every day you meet an angry atheist, a self-proclaimed angry atheist that has a value system which is all about success, that within the space of 48 hours changes his entire life because of an experience, not because of a message or reading a book, or you had an experience that changed your entire value system. And now you describe yourself as a sinner, but you found grace in Jesus, so you've got a new identity, you've got a new space in him where you're able to say, hold on, I'm not that person anymore. I'm a different person now with a different set of values.
Right.
That's incredible, Howard.
And the thing is that anybody, you don't have to have a near-death experience to make this change. I'm going to put it in a very simple term, but if you say yes to Jesus, and I mean a big yes to Jesus, he is going to help you begin to make that transformative process to become the person that you were created to be in the first place, which is a child of God and not a dog. That's what I love dogs. I have dogs. Don't want to knock them, but we were meant to be more than dogs.
Wow. Well, we had an interesting debate going on about whether dogs have spirits and they go to heaven. We had some questions about that, but I'll give you my opinion about that. But I totally get what you're saying. Is your life before and your life now is as different as the life of a dog and a life of a human being. You're just living life in a whole new way and a whole new reference. Now, Howard, you're going to be with us tomorrow morning at Fartall City Church, and we're gonna get to hear some more about the story. My head's been blown with the bits you've shared about hell and how that experience has impacted you, and I'm really interested to hear bits and pieces of that tomorrow. But what would you say, somebody listening to the stream, somebody listening to this clip right now, somebody that's online right now in the different formats, why would they need to make time at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning to be at Fartall City Church to be a part of this?
Because what I'm promoting, what I'm trying to get across is that if you're looking for peace, if you're looking for love, if you're looking for faith, if you're looking for hope, if you're looking for self-control, if you're looking for contentment, if you're looking for real joy, only the joy that God can give, I know where you can get it, and it's not going to cost you a penny, and it's not going to make you do anything bizarre or weird. It's simply a matter of getting down real honest, getting down real humble, and asking God for those gifts. And God will give you those gifts if you're willing to open your heart up to Jesus.
Thank you, Howard, and thank you for joining me briefly this morning, just to touch base and to tell a little bit more about your story. You died, and it changed your life. And we're looking forward to hearing more about hell, more about heaven, more about your experiences in the process and how it has changed your life. Tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock, Fartall City Church. You can join on YouTube or Facebook, or best of all, join us in the Zoom room where Howard Storm will be one of the participants on that Zoom room as we do an interview with him as part of our service tomorrow. Have a fantastic Saturday, 512 City Church. We'll connect again soon.